Hi, I'm Alex Wood. I'm part of Phantom Media, and this is again some of our coverage for the University of Derby Student Union elections. Today I am joined by
Nina, and I'm running for Vice President Education.
Brilliant, thank you, Nina. What drew you to this particular role?
This is the role I'm currently doing, but the reason I want to return is because I absolutely loved it doing this year. I really want to continue a lot of the work I was doing, as well as bring in new work. I think it's more important now than ever as we move out of COVID. And while we're still potentially in COVID, for some consistency.
What is your primary aim if you were to succeed?
Academic support for students, so be they new students, returning students, graduates, any kind of student group that you identify with. I want to make sure that you have support to succeed and thrive.
And what is your particular perception of the Union of Students right now? It's going to be a little bit different for you because you're in it. So what is the particular perception for you of the Union of Students?
It's a very interesting, tricky question. I should have not underestimated you writing the questions, Alex, but it's challenging. It's been challenging. I think as a union, we've definitely done our best and pulled through. Looking across the sector, we've definitely done better than some institutions. I'm quite proud of all the work that we've put in this year. It's been a lot of long hours, a lot of long meetings, like 12 hours sitting on a computer in Teams. It's definitely been a very challenging, different year. Definitely not what I campaigned for last year, but I'm proud of what we've done. We've done so much work and put so much in. So at the end of the day, I couldn't be prouder to be part of the union currently.
Is there anything that you would change?
I think looking back, and I think it's really healthy to reflect on what you do in anything. One thing that I would have done personally is just been a bit more transparent about what we've been doing and the work we've been putting in, and just been sharing more on social media. It kind of blended into the background. That's the only thing I would change going back.
Amazing. Right. Thank you for them. They're the kind of introductory ones where we get people in. These are the next couple are kind of like a job interviewee type ones. So they're ones that you would experience at normal job interviews and stuff like that. So apologies with that.
That's fine.
How do you solve problems in a professional setting? You personally?
So I'm a planner and I like to be prepared. So if I'm faced with a problem, I like to go out and look at kind of some data, look at if it's something tied to how an institution is approaching something, look at how other institutions have looked at that issue, maybe like if it's hypothetically what their website looked like. I'd do some research and benchmark across our competing universities and what their kind of websites look like. So do a lot of research and then sit down, speak to the members of my team or people I work with if they've potentially got more expertise in dealing with that particular issue, and then face the issue head on.
Brilliant, thank you. And this next one is really difficult to ask to you guys specifically because you kind of already know. But I'm gonna soldier on through and deal with it, especially in the role and when you get nominated and when you get, elected to Vice President Education, and when you're on the student union, there is a lot of publicity. Your face is plastered on every screen. You get that one particular headshot you get at the beginning of the year reused all over the place. So if you don't like your hair color, it's in, and you can't change it, and it's all over the place. How do you deal with that? How would you deal with that again this year? Like the publicity that this role gives you is so in the spotlight. How would you deal with that?
I mean, I've luckily not had to deal with it because we've not been on campus, but jokes aside, it's something I've personally struggled with a lot because I'm not the type of person to put my life out on social media, and that's just a personal choice. It's nothing against anyone who does that. It's just my own personal choice. And it's when I was looking at running for this role, it's what put me off it, to be honest with you, but it pales in comparison to what the actual physical change you can do through this role, how impactful it is. It becomes so unimportant, and in a way it's helped me with my own self-image. Kind of more you look at your face, the more it's just normal and part of your job. I think I've definitely become a lot better at public speaking, which has always been a bit of a kind of anxiety of mine. And also you just get very good at like taking selfies and doing videos. I still hate the sound of my own voice, and when this comes out I will probably not listen to it, but you get used to it. That's not personal, Alex, just don't like my own voice, but you get used to it, to be honest, and it's not something that you should put you off this role, because what you actually do in your job is just so important.
Brilliant, thank you for that. Currently in the COVID-19 circumstances, a lot of students feel that it has impacted not only on their student experience, but they've also been critical of how the university has responded to it. What do you think the Union of Students should do about that?
Another loaded question. Should not have expected anything less from you. The union should do what they always do, which is listen to student voice and be guided by student voice. And I know that we get stuck in a very difficult position of there will always be someone who's not happy with what we've done. And there's a lot of things that there's not an obvious reason of why we've done them, but there's been extensive consultation, not just within union staff, but with our part-time officers and with our programme reps. And we've done them with the interest of students at heart. I think this is definitely questions that are very difficult for us, but it's very easy to criticise from behind the screen and criticise through social media, especially if it's anonymous. But I think a lot of people forget that we're people too, and that we're only trying our best and doing what we think is best. And whatever we do, there'll be criticism, but it's just another thing that you have to deal with in this role. It just becomes another part of it.
And how, in the particular role, if you get re-elected to VP Education, how would you deal with that? How would you make sure that students feel that their student experience is heard, and that if they are critical of the Union of Students in a way, or the university's particular response, especially in an education sense, because there's been a lot of students that feel that their education has been hampered by online or by the way that the university has handled the coronavirus. How would you, in your particular role, handle that? What is the way that you'd be able to support students in that role?
I just say, and I've said this now, just come speak to me, like email me, message me. I'm here. My virtual door, however, I don't want you at my house, but my virtual door is open for you to come and speak to me, and have a conversation. What I personally have an issue with is people complaining online, for example, hiding behind the screen, but then when you reach out for a conversation, they don't want to actually have a conversation, because then we don't get our kind of time to talk and explain. So my kind of answer is always just come and speak to me. There might be a reason that you haven't realised why something can't happen, or it might be that we haven't realised something, and we will then work to change that. But it needs to be a conversation. So just come and speak to me. I'm happy to be challenged, more than happy to be challenged, as long as it's through a constructive conversation.
Amazing, thank you. And lastly, this year, with us all being virtual, we've learned a lot this year. We've learned a hell of a lot of lessons. So taking this into consideration for next year, what, in a personal and a professional sense, would you particularly take into that?
From what I've experienced through this role,
yeah, so like
in general.
What lessons can we specifically learn from this year being all virtual and take into next year?
how many meetings could be an email? I think is my main thing, is how many meetings could just be an email and that you don't have to have them.
Sorry, that really threw me. That really threw me.
Whoever becomes an officer, they will very quickly realise that 50% of the meetings can be an email.
Woo! Thank you very much, Nina.
No, absolute pleasure to speak with you, Alex.